Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my AEW loving co-host, Alexander Vol. Say hello.
Love me some Hangman Page. Love me some Swerve Strickland. Some Jamie Hayter. Some Julia Hart. Some Young Bucks.
He's not going to stop. He's going to keep going. This is Every Album Ever, the podcast we listen to every album in the world. Yes, you know how it is. Except today is a little different because today, well, it's a loose ends. Which means something got messy. Something where we thought there was an end. We did an episode already. We did a full episode on this artist, and then they put out something else. In this case, a very weird one where the artist died a long time ago, and we still got a new one, and it's not Tupac. What are you talking about today, Alex?
We're talking about the final album from Sparklehorse entitled Bird Machine.
We did a full episode on Sparklehorse, episode 122. That was requested by Tom, our history guy, who's been with us for several years now.
Know that. I didn't even fucking know that. I thought it was.
Yeah, it was a second request. The first one he requested was Type O Negative. Second one, then he requested Sparklehorse, and I believe he's like, I don't even like them that much. So I just thought it would be a good episode for you guys, and it was a pretty fun episode.
I thought that was a Sid pick.
No, that was Coca Rosie, and that is unforgivable. And it's so funny because I looked at on the schedule here because we have our Google Doc, and I document every single thing that we've ever done, and I keep it on here. So like there's stuff here from 5 years ago. On the original Sparklehorse entry that I had, I put it on the right next to the band name, requested by Type O Negative Tom. That's how I knew him as, because he wasn't working with us. Now I've met him in person in Germany. We hung out and we were like good friends, and now and he's a part of the team. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy stuff.
Time is wild. Yeah,
indeed. But yeah, we covered Sparklehorse. It has been a long time since I've listened to this man/band. What do you remember from that?
Didn't really leave too much of an impression on me. I did enjoy the album he did with Danger Mouse, though, but I think that speaks more for my fondness of Danger Mouse. And that was Dark of the Night, which may have been that's like Dark Night of the Soul. Sorry, that's the last album we covered. So I think everyone thought that was the last album due to Mark passing away that same year it came out, and then out of the blue in 2023, this came out, and we were like, you know what, we're not in a hurry to do this.
So you liked Dark Night of the Soul. You're a fan of Danger Mouse. I'm sort of lukewarm on Danger Mouse. He's done stuff that I both like and don't like. I really didn't like that album. I actually hated that album. I gave that one worst and least favorite. But what I did love, and I really love, was his first album, Viva Dixie Submarine Transmission Plot, which is all one word. Mm-hmm. But it was a style of indie that I enjoyed the way he pulled it off. And by he, I do mean Mark Linkous, who committed suicide in 2010. He has a style, especially a style of vocal, that is obviously very much not going to be for everyone.
It can be a little grating. I don't dislike it as much as you do. He is kind of in that like Flaming Lips / Mercury Rev realm, where all three kind of feel like these 90 bands who like psychedelia but weren't like, did this 90s version of it,
in like 90s indie version of psychedelia. Yeah. Mercury Revs, Flaming Lips type stuff. It fits in a little bit with that. It's a little, at least what I remember, it was a little bit more straightforward than that. A little more
folksy.
Yeah. So I was thinking that too. And it didn't end up leaving a huge lasting impression, except for the first album, which was a little bit harder. I think a little harder. But he's fine. He's fine. There's some genuinely nice songs in there. And the voice, I I found it more grating on that fucking Christmas album that he was on, more so than I think his records.
Yeah. Also, I should say, kind of weird timing, because I think we had it on the schedule before David Lynch passed. David Lynch did have a hand in the Dark Night of the Soul album. I forget exactly what he did. So yeah, life is interesting and funny. Nonetheless, it's always interesting for bad or for worse. What did David Lynch do on this? What did he do? Oh, he's on track 7, Star Eyes.
He's also on track 13, the title track.
Okay, yeah. And then he had to do like music. Like if there wasn't like a video aspect, like what are we doing, right? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm just assuming things.
It could have just been, I haven't heard it in so long and I really didn't enjoy it. So I definitely didn't go back to it, but yeah, I forgot that's the album with everybody. It's not just Danger Mouse. It's got Julian Casablancas, Black Francis, Iggy Pop.
David Lynch did 100+ page book of like photos to complement the album. That
did he?
Yes.
Interesting. In addition to being on those 2 tracks, that's oh man. Yeah, I'm just sad now. I'm just keep saying things about David Lynch. And
have you seen the clip where like the producers of the movie are trying to get him to make the scene shorter?
Yeah. Yeah, that was wonderful.
I love him so. Like,
what did he say?
He's like, who gives a fuck how long a scene is? Like, he's just. Have you watched the Fabelmans?
No.
It seems like it is like jerk off, self-indulgent movie. It's Steven Spielberg, semi-autobiographical about his upbringing, and you especially are going to be annoyed at first.
Oh, noted.
You might have a more visceral reaction than I do, because my reaction was, I was like, I hate how fake everyone is. They're clearly mentally ill. And then about 20-30 minutes into the movie, they're like, all these people are fucking mentally ill.
Oh, well, that's fun. Nice and authentic.
Also, it's just about his childhood. It ends as he's like entering Hollywood. So it's not like, and so the scene when he gets his break, he meets John Ford. And John Ford is played by David Lynch, and it's one of the fucking most amazing performances ever. Like, because David Lynch is so iconic, but like I really believe he was sorry,
an angel.
Yeah,
sent by God.
I mean, he was
definitely.
Anyway, sorry.
Well, I mean, it's not relevant. I mean, the man was a part of it, and this is another like sting. Another not the wrestler or the bassist. Another stinging aspect of this is that
Sting did retire last year, though.
Indeed, the initial, because this album was compiled by
Steve Albini.
No. This was compiled by Matt and Melissa Linkous, who are his brother, and it was Melissa Who the fuck is Melissa? Is it his wife or his sister? Because I'm Googling it and it's just not saying. It's just saying his family.
They have a band, all 3 of them together, called The Rabbit.
Okay.
I know that doesn't answer your question.
It definitely doesn't, but at least they got that. Anyway, it was compiled by all of them, but the initial recordings recorded by Mark were recorded by Steve Albini, who, yes, now we get 2 sad stories in one. Check out our episodes on Big Black, Rape Man, Shellac, and our Steve Albini Memorial episode. So extra sad. And first off, did you enjoy this album at all?
You know what? The first half, I can't say for certain because it's been a long time, but dare I say, I think it's some of his finest work.
Really?
The first half.
Well, at least you liked it. I didn't like the album. There's a couple songs that I'm okay with.
It does fall off in the second half. It's not as strong for me, but I don't know if it's the generosity from the Mercury Rev album.
Oh, right. Check out an episode from the most recent Mercury Rev. I felt the opposite. I felt the back half. I enjoyed it a lot more. But even despite that, because a lot of this is really just, a lot of these songs I wouldn't even say are bad songs. Just like, all right, he's doing a thing that I've heard a band do before. I'm not really interested in it. Or it's like, okay, he's heavily, clearly drawing from this obvious artist on this song, and I've gotten it already. I get the point. But even despite that, there is a sadness to this album that I got even before I realized Steve Albini recorded these tracks. And then it really just kind of drives the nail in with the final two tracks that, all right, he's dead. This is the last thing that we're going to get from him. These are extremely moving, sad songs. They're tiny songs. They're like a minute and a half each, but they hit something, and they really stick with me after it ends.
Well, in another like weird, eerie sort of way, on track 4, Oak Child, which is really like somber, sad, and he has like less effects on his vocals than we're accustomed to, and it's very like eerie and outer worldly. I couldn't make out the vocals, but it invoked that same feeling I had on the recent Nick Cave album, on his Answering Machine track, with that woman.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I see Spencer, that's a Answering Machine message from him. So like it kind of like lining up with another like recent thing we did
Not to mention the word "oh" being in the title without an H is in both of those songs. Oh wow, oh wow.
Yeah.
None of those O's have H's. This is "Oh Child."
Yeah. And then the similarly to, although not as impactful, this because I think the Shellac album being the last track was "I'm Not Scared of Hell," or
I Don't Fear Hell.
I Don't Fear Hell.
That's right there.
So this is like in the middle, but he has "Hello Lord," where he's addressing, God. And I don't know how close, I'm assuming these were recorded at the end of his life, so it has that same like punch that Shellac did.
Yeah, with "Oh Child," that's one of the better ones. I like that one a lot. It's that one, both that one and "Hello Lord." I like both songs. They have a lot of. This is, I would say, as a whole, this is a very sentimental album. It's a very sweet and emotional album. It's, but those songs are a little heavier. Where "Oh Child" has, you said his vocals are like less treated than usual. He sounds very fragile on there, and the pianos sound really old. And it's a depressing, but I quite like it a lot, and it just has a nice moving quality to it. And then around 2:30, it just goes fucking head first into creepy, experimental, atmospheric, and it's actually well done. It's not like a weird clunky jump into, all right, we're psychedelic now in the middle of the song.
Yeah,
it feels like, oh, this was a somber, sad, really dark and depressing thing that became scary space music. It just took a turn into scary. And it ended up being one of my favorite songs on the album.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm like, those things, like, I think play into his strong suit, which, and I could be wrong, and it's just, but like, I don't really remember too much of that happening in his discography.
There's not a lot of, it's been a long time, but I don't remember too much darkness, like scary darkness. And then "Hello Lord" has kind of like a gospel feel to it, old timey old school gospel, early 20th century gospel, or late 19th century gospel. But yeah, I wouldn't say I love "Hello Lord," but it is a good song. And then the stuff that bothers me is like, you get "Evening Star Supercharger," which is like, okay, there's a section on 215. It's like, okay, it's a lot of Beatlesness. I don't got anything against the Beatles, of course, but when something is obviously Beatlesy, it's like, okay, we're good. I
don't know. It worked for me. I think I prefer him doing something like "Evening Supercharger" compared to like "Fuck It Up."
Yeah, I fucked it up. Yeah, I don't like that one either.
Like
I'll go with Evening Star Supercharged over I Fucked It Up for sure.
Like there's nothing wrong with the song, but it just, to me, it doesn't like play into his strong suits. And sometimes like when bands do the Beatles stuff, it's a little overbearing. And I think on Supercharger, it's just the right amount. Like it's just enough to let you know it's there.
Yeah, it's not super offensive on that one. It's a little bit worse for me on Daddy's Gone. What kind of hurts the experience more for me is because we get that song, which I was like, okay, I've heard enough songs that sound like that. I'm not super big on it. Follows it up with Chaos of the Universe, which is just a Neil Young song, basically.
I don't care. I love it.
I like it too because
Yeah.
I like the song. The verses are just Neil Young. It's like crazy, just a Neil Young song. But the choruses, they make me feel stuff. I enjoy it.
It's like psychedelic Neil Young. Yeah. I think around here, except for Chaos of the Universe, is when it gets a little too samey for me, and not because the songs are down tempo, because I very much thought the opening 4 songs offer great variety between the 4 of them, and some of them are like slow tempo, but like it's just listening to Higson's Everybody's Gone to Sleep and The Skull of Luca, it's just those 3 songs are too similar for me.
They are similar. I don't like listening to the Higsons or Skull of Lucia, but Everybody's Gonna Sleep, I think, is my favorite song on the album.
Really?
It's so the thing is, it's yes, totally around that. I mean, listening to the Higsons is a little bit more garage rock. There's like more fuzzy garage rock stuff, which is a few of those tracks here. But
it's very much like Beck, who just feels like a random artist. The like longer time goes on, I'm like, Beck is really strange.
Yeah, I never got into Beck.
I listened to a handful of his albums, and even now, like it gets more like, who the fuck does it?
He's definitely an interesting guy.
Yeah.
One day I will give Beck a fair shot, but for Everybody's Gonna Sleep, it is just another acoustic ballad on an album full of acoustic ballads, but the chorus got me, man. It got me. It got me in the feels. I like it. Can't say the same about Skull Lucia because it's just more sad and sentimental, and we've gotten just so much of it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't even talk about the opener. It Will Never Stop, because it's a bit jarring of an opener.
It is misleading, but that is like another upbeat one where it's like it's dirty and upbeat, but it's like playing into his strengths. I'll take It'll Never Stop like 9 out of 10 times over a song like Fuck It Up, where it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It feels more genuine. I
agree. I'll go It Will Never Stop over I Fucked It Up, definitely. It's very fuzzy, like pop rock with kind of stupid sounding drum machines. It's cute for what it is. It's very it's not really my thing, but it's short. It's okay. I'm fine with it. Whereas I Fucked It Up, it's just something rubs me the wrong way about it. But yeah, even with like the sameness toward the end, where you just get a bunch. I mean, because this track 2 is already a kind of a ballad with Kind Ghosts. We have a lot of it by the end of it.
I will say, Kind Ghosts is this interesting thing where I can't really think of too many dreamy songs that feel almost machine-like, and I really like those textures and uses of drum machines on Kind Ghosts.
I didn't love the drum machine sound, but I did like the atmospheric synths on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say that's a bad song. It's just one that I didn't quite enjoy that much. But so we get a lot of that in the whole thing. Yet even still, by the time when Blue comes on, that one gets me. It's a fucking minute 20. It's instrumental. It's these harmonized bass chords, interweaving with guitar. It's fucking lovely. And then Stay, the closer, already makes me want to cry. It's there's harmonized vocals in that one, and it blends really nicely with the choice of acoustic guitar and piano textures on there. And it's just, yeah, it's 1:40, but it's such a fitting and heartbreaking closer. Like, oh man.
I agree with you that both those songs are really strong. And initially I liked Blue as the short palate cleanser, but then Stay is so short. I wanted to say short and sweet, but that's not right. Where like I almost wish one of the two were longer, because I like the guitar playing more on those two songs than that like lull towards the end there.
Yeah, it's not just that they're short, that they're kind of getting past. Like they feel better. They feel a lot more heart. There's a lot more pain in those songs, and you just feel more. They're nice. They're very pretty. Honestly, lovely tracks that could have been longer, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, it's just, I'd say it's a very flawed album. I'm not super big on it. I won't return to it, but there were moments that stuck out to me that made me feel stuff. And even in the end, it's making me like, I feel like I'm going to hell for not liking some of these songs. Cause like they're so, you could tell how sincere it was and how like, it's just sad. The guy was so sad.
Yeah. I was surprised that I was having a emotional reaction to these songs, because I wasn't sure. And then After Chaos of the Universe wasn't as effective for me. However, I do think fans of Sparklehorse are probably really pleased with this album. They probably not disappointed at all. I think for like an album from someone who's been away for longer than a decade, and sometimes like with hip hop artists, it feels like they've like cut and paste the song so much where like it's not their song anymore. And this feels like a proper album that is Sparklehorse. It doesn't feel like, oh, we had these bits and pieces, or I forget the name of the song, but like the Beatles came out with a new song recently and they used like AI to replace
get fucked with that shit, man.
John Lennon and George Harrison, and it's a fine song. It sounds like the Beatles. Outside of the AI part, which is a big part of it, like there's nothing wrong with it, but they still had to, you know, do this unnatural thing to get there. And nothing about this sounds unnatural.
Yes, I would agree with all that. I was expecting, honestly, this is going to be a weird take. This feels more like a genuine Sparklehorse album than Dark Night of the Soul to me, because that's so many guests on there.
That's so collaborative. Like this does feel like a, what's it like it's a beautiful send off for him if you're a fan of his music.
And I could say that also as someone who didn't even enjoy the album. By the end of it, I thought that was pretty good for like, all right, that's a good final little period. The end of that sentence.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, we do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with like, you know, it's not my cup of tea, but I could see how people would really like this album and be touched. I mean, we're heartless monsters sometimes, and we got caught up in our feelings, not throughout the whole thing, but enough. So
yep. That's more than none. So that's can't really say, even I can't say that about a lot of albums I didn't enjoy. Really,
that's true.
Now that I think about it, yeah.
That's true. So a very like interesting final album and a fitting like. I'm glad his fans and his family get this like almost closure, which some people don't ever get. So
it is a gift. Closure is not promised to you, indeed. But yeah. I would say, yeah, check it out if you have a passing interest in Sparklehorse. If you're into this sort of 90s style of psychedelic indie, it's a little bit more straightforward than that, but it still has a lot of that essence in it. And then while you're at it, check out our full episode on Sparklehorse from way back when. If you enjoyed this video, you know the deal. You know, fucking tell us why we're idiots and stupid and wrong, or why you agree with us and you think this is a sad album. Like the video, subscribe, whatever. You can follow me on all social media at Pattern Monkey, and Alex on Instagram for the time being at
Every Album Alex, and then also at Blue Sky at Octocron 3030.
And our history guy, Tom Osman, all social media, Tom Osman Sounds, and his website, tomosmansounds.com, for all his music and his podcast, Whatever Comes Next, where he interviews indie musicians, and you can find links to all that in the description. My EP in the description. And most importantly, folks, patreon.com/everyalbumever. You get bonus episodes, 2 bonus episodes a month. You get to see our schedules in advance, vote on polls to decide who we cover next. Join the Discord, be a part of the community, hang out, talk shit. You can suggest brand new albums that have come out this year, and we'll do singles episodes on those. And if you're tier 2, then you can suggest a full ass discography for us to cover on a bigger, longer numbered episodes. And then if you want, you can also suggest fucking any album for bonus episodes for Patreon. So there's plenty to do. Check that out. Cool. Closing it out, any suggestions?
It's a bummer, but sometimes life is a bummer. But I think we put over how beautiful and somber Oakchild is. That feels fitting.
I agree. So thanks so much for listening and watching. See ya.